All right, guys, in this video, we're going to talk about how to position the torch to achieve a weld. Now, there's a couple factors that we really need to take into account when using this torch. One is standoff, which is how far away the torch tip is from my material. Too far, we don't transfer enough heat and the electrical arc has difficulty passing through. Too close, we can actually dip our tip into the weld, which usually ends with it frozen up and we have to go chip off the steel. Too much heat, so right in the middle is perfect. Usually about a 1/2 inch standoff, which is from where the wire comes out. As you can see, the wire here is actually sticking out about a 1/2 inch, which is a really good starting point. You can always push it out a little longer and then just take some end nippers or dikes and cut it off. But about a 1/2 inch is about the width of your pinky. It's a good gauge, so you don't always have to check that with a ruler, but if it's sticking out about a 1/2 inch, that's perfect. Now, we want to have a pretty straight angle from our torch into our workpiece. If I was welding on the side of this, I would try and get a lower angle to accommodate that. But being flat on the surface, I kind of actually want to raise my arm up and get kind of a perpendicular angle or a 90-degree angle against that material. Now, one thing to keep in mind is when we are using a flux-core welding system, we actually want to tilt toward our direction of travel. So let me show it to you this way. So instead of being perfectly 90 degrees here, if I'm welding left to right, I actually want to tilt about 15 degrees towards my direction of travel. And this is for flux-core systems. A MIG system, for example, that uses actual gas, you actually do what's called push welding, where you weld with the gas blowing where you're going to be welding. But with flux-core, we weld opposite, which is called drag welding. So we're at about a 15-degree drag as we move along our material. Now, what's really a good thing for you guys to practice before you actually start welding is to practice your distance from your standoff of a 1/2 inch and practice going nice and slow, very consistent and deliberate across the material. Now, the two main problems that students have when they're learning to weld is they move too fast, number one, and they don't keep a consistent standoff from the material. This 15-degree angle is probably a little bit more forgiving than the other two things, but if you are too far away, you're going to have all this popping and you're never really going to get a weld puddle going. And if you're too close, you're going to dip into your puddle and it's going to stop the machine. We'll have to come clean it up. So about a 1/2 inch. Make sure, one thing I like to do, which everyone is different, I like to kind of put a kickstand down. I like to have my arm there so I can be very, very steady with my welding torch. But what I want to do is just practice going nice and slow, keeping my distance the same, keeping my 15-degree angle. I just want to practice that probably 10 times. Anytime I'm moving too fast, I'm going to lose my weld puddle. So just focus on going nice and slow, nice and slow. Keep that 1/2 inch. Just watch a line all the way across left to right. I'm probably doing 6 inches a minute here, which I'm slightly exaggerating for the camera. But this is the motion that you're going to want to practice over and over because it's the motion you're going to need when you're welding. If you're moving too fast, you're not going to establish a weld. It's going to be popping, splatter's going to go everywhere. The same thing's going to happen actually if you come away. You're not going to have enough heat to create a fusion weld and you're going to have splatter going all over the place. Close, consistent is what's going to end with a good weld. The better you get at this, the better your welds are going to be. So really focus on this in your welding and as we start welding.